Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey.
What up, Doe?
And the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 cents.
Did you just say what up, Doe?
I did.
Motherfucker. All right. That's good.
Hi, Satsu.
What's up?
And I'm your host, Scribe, the Lord of Punishment. Hello, everyone. Hello, chat. Hope you're having a good Tuesday and a good week ahead of you. It's been an interesting day for me, but I'll get into that momentarily. Satsu, how are you?
I am good. I had another extremely busy day where I pretty much worked the whole day and didn't technically get anything done because I made the fatal mistake of trying to do voiceover for this commission that I'm doing because I'm trying my best to make this commission like extra special, but that all backfired because I know that I can't do voiceovers and it's always a problem when I try to, and the fuckery ensued. So I got to redo it. Well, not redo it, but I got to rearrange it, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been working constantly for the past few days, so at least I've been busy.
All right. Thank you, tall person. Happy Pink Cadillac Day, everybody.
Pink Caddy.
Are you going riding on the freeway of love in a pink Cadillac?
Pink Caddy.
And Monkey, how are you doing?
Not too bad. Didn't get as much sleep as I wanted because my damn phone went off for no freaking reason. And nobody was on the other side. That was fun. But because of that, I was able to get up and have a fun day. And then Crusader Kings 3 was out, so I downloaded that, and I've been playing that for the last 2 or 3 hours, having a blast. How are you doing, man?
Well, it's been a very interesting day. So aside from, work was work and the aftermath of month end, which means today was pretty quiet in that score. But one of the first things I woke up to this morning was someone on Twitter had tweeted out my channel. And that was comedian Kurt Metzger, who's a friend of Joe Rogan.
Oh.
And he recommended people take a look at my channel because of my TEDx work, which he found hilarious. And later in the day, I got a DM from Kurt inviting me onto his podcast.
Oh, shit, dude.
Cool. Nice.
So not all confirmed yet, but purportedly it could be as soon as this Thursday. And I'll be on, and we'll see. I mean, I haven't got to straighten out the schedule and everything, but that's the tentative plan. And we may do a TEDx on there or just talk about stuff. I don't know. It's just kind of shoot the breeze, I suppose. And he also mentioned how he sent one of my TEDx's to Joe Rogan.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, okay. Yeah, it's been a very, very interesting day.
Well, that's awesome. Congrats.
That's
dude.
exciting. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, even if it doesn't end up happening, just the fact that, I was like, wow. So yeah, that was kind of the highlight of my day, and we'll see what happens. As soon as I have a firm time and day and everything for that, I will definitely let you guys know. But yeah, so there you go. Aside from that, I don't know that I have anything to sort of top that over the course of the day. I didn't do anything really otherwise that was exciting. So thank you, Johnny Hellcat. Hell yeah, Scribe. Thank you, Johnny. But yeah, he said, I don't know if you have any TEDx's you haven't done yet. You might want to like riff off of on my show. I'm like, do I have TEDx's? Dude, yeah. Let me check my queue. Yeah, I got several. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. And thank you, X-Bubba Hotep. Bravo, Dogcat Fox. Thank you. But all that aside, Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, video games, hit that like button if you have not already. And please share our stuff. Share it far, wide, sideways. You never know who might be watching, as they say. And especially if there's a content creator out there that you like, be sure to tell people that you do. And on that note, I will also promote. For those of you out there who like true crime, and like interrogation analysis and Jim Can't Swim type stuff, I have to recommend to you a channel by the name of Matt Orchard. He's only done a couple, like 3 or 4 sort of interrogation analysis type videos so far, but they are top tier stuff. I gotta say, you know, I've been watching this stuff for years, and I'm kind of inclined to see if I can get him on a Familiar with the Matter, because he's still a relatively small channel doing this stuff, and his stuff is just great. He did a 2-hour analysis of the Daniel Holtzclaw case. That's the Oklahoma cop that got 200 and some odd years in jail for raping several women. And he does, each hour analyzes the case from one side and the other, from the prosecution side and from the defense side. And it's about as comprehensive a look at that case as I've ever heard. And it's stellar. It might as well be a professional. I mean, it is a professional documentary, essentially. And so, yeah, if you like Jim Can't Swim, you like true crime, look up Matt Orchard and give a listen to a couple of his pieces. And thank you, Shoehorn Aplenty, for a Dogcat Fox. Good job. Thank you, Shoehorn. But aside from all that, anything else to mention before we get into the schnoz, guys?
No.
Well, I'm gonna take a guess and say that you might not have this story, so I wanted to bring it up because I don't know if it'll come up later. But did you guys see the Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend plea deal?
Oh, you mean lawsuit?
Well, there was they offered him a plea deal.
Oh, okay.
To say that Breonna Taylor was a drug dealer, or like kind of like an accomplice with the drugs or whatever, and they said if you do that, then you'll get, I think it was like probation or whatever, or you just got to take 10 years. And he was like, fuck y'all, I'm taking 10. I'm like, boy.
Wow.
I'm like, ride or fucking die.
Is that even legal? What?
They do that shit all the time, as far as I know, right? Plea deals.
Plea deals. Yeah, plea deals, but to make a public statement in exchange for a lesser sentence, that's and effectively perhaps perjure yourself. That's bizarre.
Yeah, it's just weird, is all.
Yeah, you got a link to that one somewhere. I'll do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Send that into the DM, and I'll take a look at that here in a minute.
Gotcha. Yeah, Squishy pointed it out to me. I haven't actually read the article yet or whatever, but okay. I saw a whole bunch of people talking about it. So
okay. Well, ahead of all that, let's see what's going on in the wonderful world today. Appeals court grants Trump's request to delay subpoena of his tax returns. I guess until at least after the election, I'm assuming. President Donald Trump won further delay of the enforcement of a subpoena for years of his financial records after a federal appellate court ruled Tuesday that it should first decide the appeal of his lawsuit to block the Manhattan District Attorney's Office from obtaining the documents. A 3-judge panel on the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said the court would hear oral arguments in the appeal on September 25th, bringing the court's decision of the case into mid-fall and making a handover of the documents to the district attorney's office increasingly unlikely to happen prior to the presidential election. Earlier Tuesday, the panel had heard oral arguments regarding Trump's motion to prevent the subpoena to his longtime accounting firm from going into effect while the appellate court decides the case. An attorney for Trump, William Consovoy, told the judges that the subpoena, quote, is an arbitrary fishing expedition, unquote, and that it was, quote, issued in bad faith in order to harass the president, unquote. The primary question, Consovoy said, is, quote, will the president be given an opportunity to appeal that ruling before his personal records are disclosed to the grand jury and the status quo is irrevocably changed, unquote. Consovoy added that, quote, the president will be irrevocably injured if those records are disclosed, unquote, and said that would be true even if the records are disclosed only to prosecutors without becoming public. Quote, you can't make them forget what they learned, Consovoy said. You can't unring that bell. And given the propensity for leaks in our world today, I kind of don't blame him. An attorney for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, Carrie Dunn, told the panel that Trump's arguments that the subpoena is overly broad is based on inaccurate assumptions about the investigation namely that it's limited to an inquiry regarding hush money payments made to women who alleged affairs with Trump's during the 2016 presidential election. Trump has denied the affairs. Quote, no facts in the complaint support that inference, Dunn told the panel. He added that Trump couldn't know the scope of the investigation because, quote, what the grand jury's looking at is secret. We're not allowed to make that public, unquote. And give it 5 minutes. Okay, so anyway, that's the latest and greatest in the wonderful tax return financial record saga.
Huh.
All right.
I know, exciting stuff, right? Let's see. Let's do something scandalous. You ready?
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi used shuttered San Francisco hair salon for blowout. Owner calls it a slap in the face. Quote, we have been shut down for so long, unquote, the owner says. Exclusive. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited a San Francisco hair salon on Monday afternoon for a wash and blowout, despite local ordinances keeping salons closed amid the coronavirus pandemic. In security footage obtained by Fox News and time-stamped Monday at 3:08 p.m. Pacific time, the California powerhouse is seen walking through E-Salon in San Francisco with wet hair and without a mask over her mouth or nose. The stylist doing her hair can be seen following her wearing a black face mask. Salons in San Francisco have been closed since March and were only notified they could reopen on September 1st for outdoor hairstyling services only. Salon owner Erica Kios, in a phone interview with Fox News on Tuesday, shared details of Pelosi's visit. Kios explained that she has an independent stylist working for her who rents chairs in her salon. Quote, one of the stylists who rents a chair from me contacted me Sunday night, she said. A screen grab of the text message she received from one of her stylists and obtained by Fox News said, quote, I'll be there at 2:45 tomorrow. Pelosi assistant just messaged me to do her hair. Kios replied, Pelosi? I was like, are you kidding me right now? Do I let this happen? What do I do? Kios told Fox News, while noting that she, quote, can't control, unquote, what her stylists do if they rent chairs from her as, quote, they're not paying, unquote, at this time. I don't really understand that one.
Wait, they're not paying as they rent the chairs?
I guess I don't know. I don't understand that statement, honestly. I read it as it's written, so I don't get that. Thank you. This is Kyle. Hello, chat people in Lawton. Hello, Kyle. Kios cast Pelosi's visit as a double standard. Quote, it was a slap in the face that she went in, that she feels that she can just go and get her stuff done while no one else can go in and I can't work, Kios told Fox News, adding that she, quote, can't believe, unquote, the speaker didn't have a mask on. We're supposed to look up to this woman, right? She said, it is just disturbing, unquote. Asked for comment, Pelosi spokesman Drew Hamill maintained that the speaker was following the rules as presented to her. Quote, the speaker always wears a mask in compliance with local COVID requirements. This business offered for the speaker to come in on Monday and told her they were allowed by the city to have one customer at a time in the business. The speaker complied with the rules as presented to her by the establishment, she said. But the owner pushed back. Kios said Pelosi received a wash and a blow dry, but told Fox News that, quote, you're not supposed to blow dry hair, unquote, according to coronavirus safety precautions for hair salons. Quote, we have been shut down for so long, not just me, but most of the small businesses, and I just can't. It's a feeling of being deflated, helpless, and honestly beaten down, Kios said. Quote, I have been fighting for 6 months for a business that took me 12 years to build to reopen, she explained. I am a single mom, I have 2 small children, and I have no income. The fact that they did this and she came in, it's like a slap in the face, unquote. Kios told Fox News that she had expected to be able to reopen her salon in July and prepared her space in accordance with local guidelines. Quote, there were rules and regulations to go by to safely reopen, which I did, but I was still not allowed to open my business, she said, noting that she installed plexiglass partitions between sinks and seating areas and ensured that all salon chairs were 6 feet apart, along with proper air circulation from open windows. Quote, they never let us open, she said, while adding that she is unable to reopen outside because her salon specializes in hair color and using chemicals outside is prohibited. Jeez. Let's see. So, yeah. Interesting. Thank you, Pakal, the Driving Ape Man. Nerderotica's wife had to close and move their salon to San Diego. It's insane the way he explained it. I don't know what's going on with the salons and all that kind of stuff. I was lucky to get a haircut about a month and a half, 2 months ago now. I'm probably ready for another one, but given all the rigmarole you have to go through, I'll probably wait a little longer. That's yeah, I don't know. Do you think Nancy was told a different set of rules than everybody else is operating by, and then she just walked in and was completely innocent in this one?
I think she doesn't give a damn about the rules. I think somebody who will go up there when you know people are hurting and not making money and show off her $13 a pint ice cream doesn't give much of a fuck about the way the rest of us live.
Probably so. Let's see. Nicole also says, Scribe, her salon was one of the most popular in San Francisco. Yeah, it's what's the phrase? Rules for thee, not for me, etc.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of rules and local administration, I don't have a good segue for this one. Oregon sheriffs say they won't help with governor's plan to stop Portland protest violence. The sheriffs of Clackamas and Washington County, they're both one. Should it be counties? Anyway, say they will not send staff to help with protests in Portland after Oregon Governor Kate Brown unveiled a plan to address the violence at protests. Why is the governor getting involved? Shouldn't the mayor be handling this first and foremost in one town?
You would think.
You would think. The plan called on several law enforcement agencies to help, including the sheriff's offices of Washington and Clackamas counties. Yes, counties. Why didn't you say that in the first one? Clackamas County Sheriff Craig Roberts said the governor didn't approach his office before rolling out the plan, intended to address the violence and arson while also protecting free speech. Quote, increasing law enforcement resources in Portland will not solve the nightly violence and now murder, the sheriff said. The only way to make Portland safe again is to support a policy that holds offenders accountable for their destruction and violence, unquote.
Yep.
Ted Wheeler, you listening? Washington County Sheriff Pat Garrett. Pat Garrett.
What a great name for a sheriff.
That's an amazing name for a sheriff.
As long as you don't want him to hold the post very long.
Yeah, there's that too. And that's an inside joke for those of you who might know certain movies from the 80s and things.
Or history.
Or history in general, that too. Washington County Sheriff Pat Garrett cited several risks that led to the decision, including, quote, the lack of political support for public safety, the uncertain legal landscape, the current volatility combined with intense scrutiny on use of force, unquote. Yeah, because when you have a city administration that is basically vilifying the police of their own city and not prosecuting people committing crimes, why would anybody else want to put themselves under that rubric?
Well, I mean, we've talked about this because it's not just the police are doing an adequate job. They're okay. The problem is all of the people who are arrested get released and don't even get prosecuted.
Yeah.
Why would you want to be a police officer there? You might as well let them just burn shit down.
Yeah. And at the same time, decrying, basic police tactics for riot control as somehow evil or something. Well, I mean, if they're coming from federal authorities, because obviously they're worse or something.
Well, not just as some kind of crime. I mean, they're actually calling them war crimes.
Right. Brown's plan also said Gresham. I think it's Gresham. Thank you, Chicago Mike. Where's Billy the Kid? Well, I hope
don't ask.
Let's hope nowhere near Sheriff Pat Garrett.
Well, Billy can be near him because he killed Billy, but
that's okay. Yeah, who killed Billy?
You don't want the other. I forget the guy's name who killed Pat.
Yeah, okay, I got it mixed up in my head. Okay, also said Brown's plan also said Gresham Police would help with the protest response. KATU reached out to Gresham PD, and they said they are, quote, currently in discussion, unquote, on whether or not they will assist the Portland Police Bureau. Hey, Governor Brown, maybe it would have made more sense to contact these guys before you just sort of outright said that they would in your plan. Oregon's a fucked up state, man.
It is.
The Oregon Association Chiefs of Police also spoke out on Monday, saying it too, quote, cannot dictate our limited resources away from the communities we serve, unquote. KATU reached out to Brown's office for a response after the initial statement from Roberts was released. They said the plan, quote, is meant to allow for this kind of flexibility in supporting each other as we all collectively deal with the difficult situation in Portland. No. Portland is Portland's problem. Portland could be handled by Portland's resources. You guys have let it go to seed. You don't make a collective. That's not how that... A county sheriff is not obligated to come and fix somebody else's problem just because the governor says so. That's stupid. Oh, boy. Let's see. The officials said they will help Oregon State Police with their emergency calls while troopers are being called into Portland. Washington County Sheriff Garrett also said Monday that he didn't plan on sending in deputies to assist. However, they would offer support in, quote, indirect ways, unquote. Moral support, like, doing a great job. Oh, boy. Yeah, don't live in Portland now. If you live in Portland, get away. Run away.
Run as fast as you can.
And we're running just as fast as we can. All right. How about a little, maybe levity? I don't know, but something that's not politics or crime or anything else. Wedding announcement goes viral after groom's ex publicly reveals he cheated on her when he met the bride.
Oof.
Groom's ex.
Yeah, so he was dating the girl, and then he cheated on her with the girl that eventually became the bride. Is that
well, then who cares?
Yeah, maybe that's my initial interpretation. When Nikita Moreno saw her ex-husband in the New York Times' wedding section, it came with a startling realization: he had been cheating on her. What?
Huh?
Now, after publishing her side of the story, the internet has her back. Okay, I need the details. Quote, according to the New York Times article, the couple, Rob and Lauren, started their relationship in January of 2017. It also said that he had never been married. That was news to me because I was his wife in January 2017, Moreno wrote in a piece for the New York Post. Quote, we split in late March of that year, officially divorcing in January of 2018, and I never exactly understood why until I read about it in the Times. The wedding announcement in the New York Times, originally published on August 7th, recounts the meeting of Lauren Malin and Robert Palmer. Oh, Robert Palmer, simply irresistible. It begins with their meet cute. Oh, God, I hate that fucking phrase. Meet cute at a gym. Quote, she's one of the few women who lifted weights, and she was stunning, Palmer told the paper. Chronicles their courtship. They were the same Myers-Briggs type. Oh. And ends with their eventual engagement and wedding at an art museum in Connecticut. In the final quote of the story, Palmer calls Malin, quote, the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. This is the most meaningful, deep connection I've ever had, unquote. Burn. Moreno, the ex-wife, said she and Palmer had been married in a civil ceremony in 2015 and were in the midst of planning a big wedding for August 2017. But he called it quits in March, quite the knife in the back for Moreno. Quote, he was my best friend and my whole life was destroyed, she said in the Post, but I knew something else was wrong. I suspected he had cheated on me, but when I confronted him about it, he never quite answered me, unquote. As stories in tandem soared through the internet, folks responded in a variety of ways, from shock to general disdain for the groom. Quote, I am eating this up, wrote Ira Madison III, who has absolutely no life of his own. Sorry. Host of the podcast, Keep It. Okay. Quote, I need an interview with the new wife now. When did she find out? Was it also after this? Unquote. Another Twitter user bluntly said, kneecaps meet crowbar. This is a Nancy Kerrigan. Come on. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. He's going to have to face it. I mean, I don't know. CNN reached out to Palmer for comment, but did not immediately receive a response. Yeah, imagine that. Let's see. Responding to the post, Palmer said, quote, Nikita and I were separated and both consented to a mutual and amicable divorce. This is all very surprising to me, and I was unaware that there was ever an issue. I'm happy with my family, and I wish Nikita the best, unquote. The New York Times has since added a correction, quote, an earlier version of this article misstated the previous marital status of the groom, Robert Palmer. Mr. Palmer had previously been married, unquote. Okay.
Okay.
So... Okay. I don't know what. I thought there was something more interesting about that, but it's kind of blah. Thank you, Hotep, for the salt. Yeah, I suppose she's a little salty that she got one-upped.
Yeah, I mean,
shit happens, I guess.
I mean,
get over it.
I guess, like, okay, you're like, okay, we're divorced now, but what was it, right before the divorce? I'm assuming he was cheating on her around that time.
I guess.
So, I mean, not so, because I understand that she's upset. Like, hey, he was cheating about, but y'all were pretty much in the process of a divorce around that time. So I don't know. I wonder what the new wife said. Like, did they ever say how she responded to the situation?
No, they didn't get in contact with them. So
okay, because
I'm sure that's what everybody wants to know. So
sure.
Let's see, and lastly, we'll go on to the story that Satsu was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from something called the Griot. Never heard of it before. Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend offered plea deal if he would claim Taylor was part of, quote, organized crime syndicate, unquote. Okay, and now I know I'm being paranoid, but since I've never heard of the Griot before, is there a more established outlet that this story can come from, just to make sure that I'm not reading something that's goofy?
Let's find out.
Usually if there is, it's listed in the article somewhere. You know, like according to the New York Times or whatever.
Yeah, here's a Yahoo News version. So I'll read that one just for the hell of it.
Oh, I thought the one I sent you was the Yahoo one.
No, you sent me something called the Griot. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Oh, well, Yahoo is just reposting the Griot story.
Oh.
So apparently the Griot is the only source for this that I can find. So, okay, well, let's see. Jamarcus Glover turned down the plea deal that would have implicated Breonna Taylor in his alleged crimes. Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend was offered a plea deal if he would claim that she was part of an organized crime syndicate. Okay, they keep repeating the same stuff over. Jamarcus Glover, Taylor's ex-boyfriend and the focus of the no-knock raid which took her life, pled not guilty to drug charges Friday. Court records indicated that prosecutors were willing to give him a plea deal if he were to implicate Taylor in his alleged crimes. Glover was given the offer by the Jefferson Commonwealth's Attorney's Office on July 13th to avoid a 10-year prison sentence and be sentenced to possible probation. Thank you, Matthew Joyner, for the lovely lemon. Thank you so much. In return for leniency, he was required to admit he and, quote, He was required to admit that he and, quote, co-defendants, Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, were involved in a drug trafficking operation in Louisville, Kentucky through April 22nd. According to court records, the crime syndicate sold drugs from an abandoned warehouse and vacant houses in Louisville. Taylor, 26, lived just 10 miles away. Glover, 30, turned down the plea deal. An attorney representing Taylor's family in a wrongful death lawsuit blasted officials for, quote, the lengths to which those within the police department and Commonwealth's attorney went to go after... Good God. Sorry about this, guys. Reading too fast, my brain can catch up. The lengths to which those within the police department and Commonwealth's attorney went to after Breonna Taylor's killing to try and paint a picture of her which was vastly different than the woman she truly was, unquote. Quote, the fact that they would try to even represent that she was a co-defendant in a criminal case more than a month after she died is absolutely disgusting, unquote. Glover told the Louisville Courier-Journal last week that police were attempting to shift the narrative around her death. She died on March 13th after a botched raid in her home in which officers shot her 8 times. Glover believes that law enforcement is now blaming him for their actions. Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly, Detective Miles Cosgrove, and former Detective Brett Hankinson were the officers involved in the shooting. Hankinson has since been fired from the Louisville Police Department. Quote, the police are trying to make it out to be my fault and turning the whole community out here, making it look like I brought this to Brianna's door, Glover said. Quote, there was nothing never there or anything ever there, and at the end of the day, they went about it the wrong way and lied on that search warrant and shot that girl out there, unquote. As previously reported by The Grio, Glover denied any wrongdoing when he used her address to receive packages. Okay. Quote, nothing ever been illegal there, unquote, he told the Courier-Journal. Quote, getting shoes and clothes coming through the mail is not illegal, nothing illegal at all, unquote. Glover said to his child's mother on recorded jailhouse calls that while Taylor had been, quote, holding money for him, unquote, the money was for phone bills and that he believed she became implicated in his alleged crimes because she bailed him out of jail. Quote, I don't understand how they're going to serve a warrant for Bree House, bruh. Okay, Glover said to a man in another call from jail, quote, how is it they serve a warrant for Bree House and nothing tied to me to Bree House at all besides these bonds, unquote. Okay. Well, if that's what the court records say, then yeah, that's a little, that's more than a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to request after she's dead.
Yeah. It's like, tell us, just tell us that she was actually a criminal and it was okay to shoot her then.
Yeah. And nothing, as far as I know, that nothing has happened yet for that shooting. I don't know if the cops have, like, what their status is. Like, were they put on leave or what? Because
one of the three is no longer with the police department. I forget if they said he was fired or he's just no longer employed there. But yeah, I think that was. I mean, isn't that the premise of Rand Paul's bill or whatever, Justice for Breonna Taylor?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know what the status is. If it said it in the story, I might have missed it. But yeah, that's a fucked up thing to try to do after the fact. It's some retroactive bullshit right there. We'll take 10 years off your sentence if you say that she was part of it. What a shitty thing to do. All right. Well, with that, guys, we're going to move on to the wonderful world of MSS News. So if you have news stories you would like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. Can't promise to get to them all, but that's because I'm long-winded and stumble over my words from time to time. Yeah. And we get caught on stories and get passionate about them sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder. Okay. Desert Tramp sends us this one. Whoa, there's a giant red warning thing. Where is this coming from? Lake Havasu, Fort Mojave. Okay, well, there's an excessive heat watch somewhere, but that's not the news story. That's just on the top of the page. Tesla on autopilot hits police car as driver watches movie on cell phone.
Wow.
Well, yeah, autopilot doesn't mean AI, for God's sakes. I guess it does a little bit, but not that much. A North Carolina doctor's Tesla operating on autopilot crashed into a police car early Wednesday morning as he was watching a movie on his cell phone. The North Carolina State Highway Patrol said the Model S sedan, driven by Devander Gawley, if I'm saying that correctly, smashed into a Nash County Sheriff's Office deputy's vehicle that had stopped to assist a highway patrol trooper responding to an accident on US 64th, about 13 miles outside of Nashville, North Carolina. Both the Tesla and Dodge Charger patrol car were severely damaged, and you can see that in the photos. I'll put that into the chat for y'all.
Maybe it's a feature where they're just like, hey, you're supposed to be on your phone. We're taking you to the cops. Your fucking car turns you in.
Let's see. And the Charger bumped into the trooper's car, which knocked both him and the deputy to the ground, but no one suffered serious injuries in the incident. But, geez, could have. Tesla's autopilot and, quote, full self-driving, unquote, systems have the capability to steer a car within a lane and avoid some obstacles, but require the driver to show that they are attentive by touching the steering wheel. So he had like one hand on the wheel and his other hand was holding the phone watching the movie. In March, a Tesla owner in Caribous County, North Carolina, credited the feature with avoiding another car that was driving the wrong way down a highway toward him. Misuse of the feature has been connected to several fatal accidents, and the National Transportation Safety Board criticized both its design and the federal regulations concerning such systems. Yeah, autopilot doesn't mean you can fall asleep at the wheel. It doesn't. It's glorified cruise control. You still have to watch what's going on. You still have to pay attention. Moron.
That car's fucked up.
Yeah, how much is a Tesla S?
I'm not sure. I know it's expensive.
Yeah, that's and he'll be paying out the ear for both his own stuff and the cop's car. Let's see. This one comes from Massive Dynamics, who apparently are invisible to Satsu for some reason. An election night red mirage is a nightmare for Democrats.
What?
Oh, I get it.
I can interpret that easy. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like it's effectively the same scenario as 2016. You know, a belief that there's going to be this landslide for, but there isn't. The red mirage.
Those ninja Trump voters.
Let's see. This is from the Intelligencer, New York Magazine. Okay. For a good while now, a number of us political obsessives have been playing Paul Revere in warning of an election night phenomenon that could lead to a contested presidential election and perhaps a constitutional crisis. I've heard that phrase, I think, more often during the Trump administration than any previous presidential administration. Maybe Bush. Maybe there was a lot talking with Bush and the whole power exchange between him and Cheney. But the issue is an unprecedented number of mail ballots, thanks to COVID-19 fears and the polling place chaos we saw in many primaries this spring and summer, accompanied by a big partisan split in willingness to vote by mail, mostly created by the president's interminable attacks on that method of voting. Since, for the most part, Election Day in-person ballots will be counted before mail ballots, Trump and other Republicans may assume an early lead on election night that will inevitably be reduced and in many cases erased as mail ballots drift in. Trump being Trump, it doesn't take much imagination to envision him claiming victory on election night and then attacking subsequent Democratic-leaning mail ballots as fraudulent. I could see that scenario playing out, sure.
This is the same thing we hear a lot, make sure that you still go vote, and not necessarily with the mail-in voting, but usually it's with just simple voting, because voting on the East Coast stops at 8 o'clock, which is only 5 o'clock on the West Coast. So they start seeing the numbers come in. It's like, oh my God, my candidate lost. I might as well not even go vote. I've never actually seen that shit happen.
So I don't know how it works. So, I mean, my understanding is if you're going to have a mail-in ballot, you usually get it like a week or two or something before the actual election day, right?
It's supposed to be a month, but some places it's like 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's say 2 weeks. So let's say I get it and I mail it the day I get it, and it's 2 weeks before the election. When does it get counted?
Anytime after that.
Okay, so it could be counted or registered. My vote can be registered before election day.
Yes, we've seen them up to like a month or so later. All it has to do is be postmarked by election day.
Right, but it doesn't actually end up getting counted until after election day.
Yes.
Oh. Well, I mean, that's not necessarily an unreasonable concern. That the actual results of the election won't be on election night, that you'll have to set the expectation for a week or two after that.
But they're worried that, it's going to look like Republicans won, but don't worry. We got all these blue votes coming in with the...
Oh, yeah. And if they said, if whoever's involved in the state, I guess it depends, isn't it up to the state to make the official call for their state, like we have all the votes have been counted, Because if they're not going to certify it on election night, then it's not done. So it comes down to the individual state boards of electors, doesn't it?
It does. And it's up to the state attorneys general, I believe, to officially postmark it. Maybe it's the state election officials. I want to say it's the attorneys general.
Yeah.
But they have to certify the election results.
Okay, well then, until the states certify their election results, then nobody can claim that it's decided.
Well, what they said there was that, like, once the in-person votes come in or whatever, Trump will think he's winning, and then once the numbers come in, then they might start going down. But they said that they didn't say that could result in the Trump win. They said that means Trump is going to start claiming that the ones that came in the mail are fraudulent.
Yeah,
that was the fear, and I'm just like, but what if he does that? Like that whole prophecy still comes true, but he still wins.
Well, so here's what I think should happen. I think if you really wanted to make this clear to everybody, you'd have to get all the different states, election officials to come together, unified, and say, the election will not be complete until every one of us has certified the results for our jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
The end. So if it's not on election night, it's not on election night. If we don't get our instant gratification, then you don't. It might be a couple of days, it might be a week after the fact. That's just the way it is, and just set it there. So there's no argument, and I don't see why any state, red, blue, or otherwise, wouldn't say that that's the case to make sure that nothing's seen as wonky.
Well, in a lot of cases, it's still going to be. You're still going to be able to go. Okay, judging by past numbers, we probably have enough. Unless we have some. If it comes out and by the end of election night we have 120 million votes, chances of enough mail-ins coming in anywhere to change anything probably going to be pretty slim. You have a lot of people talking about it this time, so we don't know what it's going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
We also don't know how long it's going to take. We like our instant gratification, though.
Yeah. No, we like knowing the night of. It's the big event kind of thing.
Yep.
But if that's not feasible, they should just say it's not feasible and reset people's expectations. Thank you, Chicago Mike. What if Biden concedes? Can Trump claim victory? Yeah.
Well, I think they're not trying to do that, Scribe, because both sides are hoping that they can say the other side cheated.
I understand that, but I just think for your own professional integrity, if they have any, none of them would be unwilling to say, I'm not going to say which side it is until we have all the votes and can certify it.
Professional.
Let's see. Over 40% of voters intend to vote by mail, nearly double the number who voted by mail in 2016. Okay. Far more Democrats than Republicans intend to vote by mail. Over 50% of Biden supporters intend to vote by mail compared to less than 20% of Trump supporters. Well, intention and execution are two completely different things, so we won't know until they do. So there you go. But no, but I could see, like I say, I could see a scenario like that playing out where you don't get that. Either you get the election night gratification of CNN projects, right? Not necessarily the state has certified, but CNN projects this state goes to this and this state goes to that, and then maybe there's a district or three or a state or two that change over the course of the week following to flip to the other side, and then everything goes into nutballs because people have already made their celebrations or otherwise on the subject. So regardless, there's going to be some kind of chaos going on, I'm pretty sure.
We are guaranteed a shit show either way.
Yeah. All right, moving on. This one comes from senior staff reporter and chief Florida correspondent Colleen Bernier. Do I really want to? I really want to read this one. I guess so. The title of this is from the TC Palm, and the title of the article is "He Had Marijuana Coming Out of His What?"
Oh.
Basically, I think I just need to read. They have a screenshot here of the actual arrest affidavit report from the sheriff's office. So I'll just read that. Let's see. On August 18th, 2020, at approximately 0200 hours. I was notified by jail staff they found an unknown object inside suspect's stomach. They were going to be transporting him to IRMC to be checked out. At the time, jail staff did not know what the object was. This morning at approximately 10 a.m., I conducted a follow-up at IRMC room number 237. I then met with the suspect and advised me of the following. He had ate a bag filled with marijuana as I approached their vehicle last night. The bag had approximately 3 to 4 grams of marijuana. I asked the suspect why he would eat the bag filled with marijuana. He stated that he did not want me to find the bag. I then asked him if he has ever had a medical marijuana card. He stated he does not have a medical card. At approximately 15:30 hours, Deputy blanked out advised that suspect had a bowel movement and there was a small plastic bag. I then responded to the hospital. A nurse had taken the plastic bag out of the toilet bowl and placed it inside another plastic bag. I observed a small plastic bag covered in feces. I opened the small plastic bag, and inside was a small amount of a green leafy substance. I was able to determine it was marijuana based on my training and experience.
Huh.
So he pooped out some weed. Not unheard of.
Nope.
But okay.
Happens from time to time.
Let's see. This one comes from Keeverdam. Los Angeles sheriff deputies shoot, kill black man after stopping him for alleged bicycle riding code violations.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Oh, boy. Los Angeles. 2 deputies fatally shot a black man who scuffled with them after they tried to stop him for riding a bicycle in an unlawful manner, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department said. A crowd gathered and marched to the sheriff's station after the Monday afternoon shooting, demanding justice. Sheriff's Lieutenant Brandon Dean said 2 deputies from the South Los Angeles station were driving when they saw a man riding his bicycle in violation of vehicle codes, according to the Los Angeles Times. It was not known which codes the man allegedly broke. When deputies tried to stop the man, he dropped his bike and ran with deputies in pursuit. Deputies again tried to make contact with the man, and Lieutenant Dean said he punched a deputy in the face. The man then dropped a bundle of clothes he'd been carrying, and they spotted a black handgun in the bundle, at which point both deputies opened fire.
Oof.
So he wasn't armed. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say the handgun was recovered and no deputies were injured. I'm not surprised. Family members at the scene identified the man as Dijon Kizzy, 29. Protesters gathered demanding answers, and more than 100 people marched to the sheriff's station on Imperial Highway. Some said they didn't think the shooting was justified, while others chanted, "Say his name," and, quote, "No justice, no peace." Arlander Givens, 68, lives in the neighborhood. He questioned why deputies fired at a man who, according to the sheriff's official, wasn't holding a weapon. I'd be asking that too. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department tweeted in a statement that multiple independent investigations began at the scene, as is customary with deputy-involved shootings. So there you go. Probably another
one of those situations where it's just like he was fighting with the cops or whatever, but should they have shot him, considering the fact that he wasn't armed?
Nope. Nope. Well, I mean, okay. I don't know for sure, but if that's the police department's statement of what happened. So if those are the facts as we know them, doesn't sound justified to me.
Yeah, I don't.
So we'll see if this turns into our next flashpoint for. We'll see. Let's see. This one comes from Frosted Glass. This almost. The headline almost reminds me of the TEDx I did the other day. Why the Black Liberation Movement needs to be leaderless.
Now it does?
I guess so. The subheading is, "A revolution needs longevity more than it needs martyrs."
But y'all love fucking martyrs. You love martyrs. Are you serious? Okay.
All right, and this is by Deshaun Harrison. And this is from August 24th, but okay. This is the author. At the dawn of my tenure as a community organizer in Atlanta nearly 7 years ago, the people with whom I organized all agreed that it was important that we create a non-hierarchical leadership structure. This is exactly what my TEDx the other day was talking about. Shared resources, more room for collaborative projects, no formal leadership roles, and collective power for all. Yeah, fight human nature, see how that gets you. We were, as we thought, committed to creating spaces wherein everyone who cared to have input had the room to do so. We were trying to move away from what we saw as flaws in former movements while adding to the collective Black liberation movement. What we did not realize, however, was that because of the ways that capitalism teaches us all to work vertically, with rigid tiers of authority within an organization, there would be a lot more work required for us to effectively cultivate spaces that were actually unranked. Yeah, you know what you call an organization where everybody is an equal leader? Anarchy.
Bullshit is what we call it.
That too. We have witnessed the horrors of more vertical leadership structures in previous movements. Okay. In 1968, during what would become the eventide of the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King Jr., it's Dr. He's a doctor. He was a doctor. Who had tacitly and explicitly been deemed the leader of the movement, well, he was the figurehead, certainly, was assassinated by the U.S. government.
What?
Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Okay, that'll conspiracy theory. Much of King's work was centered around voting rights in the South, but after the signing of the Voting Rights Act in 1965, that changed. The Watts riots, which according to James R. Ralph Jr., I don't know who that is, was the turning point for King's organizing focus, transpired just days after the Voting Rights Act was signed. From that moment until his assassination, King demonstrated a commitment to a politic that was in direct opposition to the politic that had been assigned to him for so long, effectively making him a threat to the state.
Okay.
He was a threat to the state technically all the way up through the signing of the Voting Rights Act. And, okay. Thank you to College Driving 8-Man. Black Liberation Movement, how long until its front? Do I know that reference? I don't know if I know that reference.
Black Liberation Front. I'm not familiar.
Oh, Black. Yeah. Was that sounds very familiar. Remind me. 2 years prior to King's assassination, Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale founded the Black Panther Party. I am imagining a corkboard with a bunch of red yarn on it right now. Newton and Seale ushered in the Black Power era, which would serve as the next iteration of the overall Black liberation movement. The Black Panther Party grew, and in 1968, shortly after transitioning out of the NAACP, Fred Hampton became the chairman of the Illinois Black Panther Party chapter, as well as the deputy chairman of the National Black Panther Party. 1 year later, in December of 1969, Hampton was assassinated by the Chicago Police Department and the FBI. Hampton was only 21. In 1973, Assata Shakur, you mean the cop killer? Okay. And two other members of the Black Liberation Army were in a shootout with police. Between 1973 and 1977, Shakur was on trial and eventually convicted of the murder of the officer who was shot that night. In 1979, she escaped from her life sentence in prison, fled the United States, and started anew in Havana, Cuba, and is hailed as a hero these days. Where are we going with this? I mean, we're going through the bad old days of. Okay.
I forgot what this story was even about.
Yeah, I'm skipping down a bit. Maybe we'll get to the point. I don't know. When I started organizing, I was taught that to add any real value to the movement, I must commit more of myself than my body would actually allow. Taught that if I wanted to do impactful work, then I must take on every facet of the work and settle for the fact that rest was not an option. Almost as though I was a martyr in training. Yeah, almost as if. So along with the other core organizers, you mean the leaderless hierarchy, I was at every meeting, every event, every direct action. I took care of logistics, communications, base building, and more. Sounds like a night of 7 days to die.
Kind of.
Just a year prior, I was diagnosed with a chronic heart condition, major chronic depression disorder, and severe anxiety. But because I wanted to prove my commitment, despite how much my body begged me to rest, I persisted. It sounds like you're doing yourself a real disservice there. It was that persistence and unwillingness to rest that would eventually lead to my second heart surgery. Just months before turning 20, and only 2 years after my first surgery. This story is turning into a horror story. As I recovered, I noticed that it was not more people who were stepping up to fill my role, but that the other core organizers ended up taking on more tasks. This is when I realized that part of being an effective organizer and part of what makes a movement sustainable is training enough other people as organizers so that tasks continue to be dispersed equitably, even and especially when your body tells you to rest. Now, that's called cross-training. That's not new. It's not novel. You can find that in just about any basic business practice book.
So basically, what this story should be titled is, we learned that human beings are humans.
I guess.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I'm glad you figured that out.
Yeah, this goes on for like 4 pages, but I don't care.
Because I don't know what they were laying out and explaining throughout that. Definitely sounded like some commie shit to me. Like it was just like, yeah, we all have to work tirelessly and not think about anything else, and there's no leaders and everybody's doing the same thing except for the people telling us what to do, mind you, who aren't.
Yeah.
As hard as we are for some reason.
But then, if you're in a group or an organization or whatever, and someone's out sick, someone else picks up the slack, covers your shift, does whatever, fills in the gap. You share. That's not revolutionary. That's not a revelation. You didn't somehow institute something that other organizations with rigid structures have that too.
Well, here's the thing: they came into the gate incorrectly because they're like, we tried to create a system where everybody was on. You have a position called core leaders. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Core. Why are they core? Like, what? Why is that title designated for these people if you set out to do this?
Thank you, Jedi Ghost Bear. Achievement reach. You discovered teamwork. Yeah. And then this goes right back to the TEDx I did. If you guys haven't seen the Agents of Change TEDx I did the other day, holy cats. But I mean, one of the things was these two ladies started an organization of leaders that would not have a hierarchy because hierarchies are inherently evil. And when their non-hierarchical team of leaders weren't getting anything done, the two original ladies talked to each other privately about how it wasn't working and then decided to try something else on their own. And I'm like, shouldn't you be talking to the whole group if there's no leaders? If there's no hierarchy, why are you two talking in private?
Mm-hmm.
It's bullshit. And somehow they didn't understand and didn't realize that the very fact that they were discussing the group outside of the group's presence didn't indicate a hierarchy was even more hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway. Okay, we'll do one more here, and then we'll move on. This one looks pretty good. This one comes from Chicago Mike. I hope this is real. Pilot reports, quote, guy in a jetpack, unquote, 3,000 feet over Los Angeles.
Nice.
Please tell me the Rocketeer is... Whoa.
Sorry.
Okay. An American Airlines pilot preparing to land in Los Angeles reported an unusual encounter at about 3,000 feet with a, quote, guy in a jetpack, unquote. A recording of the conversation between the pilot and air traffic control Sunday evening at Los Angeles International Airport recounted the incident. Quote, Tower, American 1997, we just passed a guy in a jetpack, unquote, the pilot said in the recording. The pilot said the man wearing the jetpack was flying at about 3,000 feet, about 10 miles away from the airport. The man came within 300 yards of the plane, the pilot said. A second pilot also reported spotting a man flying at a high altitude in the jetpack. The jetpack sightings remained a mystery Tuesday as no one had come forward to claim credit for the flight. I'm going to guess This wasn't a guy in a jetpack. This was a drone powered dummy.
That could easily be it.
Because I have seen those used in marketing things. You remember that movie Chronicle?
I remember the title.
Okay, so Chronicle was the first movie by Josh Trank, the guy who would eventually do the terrible Fantastic Four movie. And it was actually written by Max Landis, John Landis's son. But anyway, as part of a marketing scheme for that, Chronicle deals, for those guys who don't know, Chronicle is sort of like a low-budget quasi-superhero movie where these kids get these superpowers, like they can fly and get psychic powers and things. Part of the marketing strategy for that was they set up like 3 or 4 of these dummies powered by drones that looked like people flying through the air. And, from the ground looking up with the light, you could be forgiven if you thought you actually saw a man flying through the air at a high rate of speed. So that's my guess here.
Real quick, Pinkalo, thank you. Black Liberation Front is a South African anti-white group that kills farmers in the name of apartheid. I have heard variations of their chants in the newer riot clips. Example, quote, "For each one of us killed, we kill 2 of them."
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it sounded familiar.
Thank you, Pinkalo.
Yeah, so they don't have the answer as to who it was or whatever. My guess, it was a drone-powered dummy. That's my guess. But guys, thank you so much for all the stories. Sorry I didn't get to them all, but them's the way the cookies crumble. So with that, we'll move on to the wonderful world of YouTube time. I didn't do anything today. I may be doing something really interesting on Thursday. Like I say, I'll let you guys know. Whether I do a TEDx tomorrow is dependent on work stuff, because I got a work meeting I have to do tomorrow, and I don't know how long that's going to go, so it'll all be on that. So if I end up knowing that I'll be able to do one, I think I have one I can do, and I will let you guys know on the Twitter machine. So that being said, Satsu, what have you been up to?
Well, I've been attempting to finish a video that I've been editing for a couple days now, and I got like halfway through it with commentary, and either I had to keep going back and replace stuff or fix stuff, or I'd go back and listen, and because I had on headphones, there were sounds that were happening in my background that I couldn't hear, or for whatever reason, the gain was different on one clip than the other, so when I tried to equalize everything and make everything sound right, it was all messed up, and one sound muffled and the other didn't. I'm just like, fuck. So I deleted all of the voiceover stuff and just started editing the video like I usually do, and it's just about done. And I'll probably upload it as is without the commentary. And I got to figure out something, man, because it's been very difficult for me to do commentary and voiceovers. I don't care as much when I'm streaming because I'm fucking streaming. There's nothing I can do about it. Whatever I say, it's just gonna happen. Ain't nothing I can do about that. But when I'm recording, I get very, stupid about that shit. So it is what it is. I got 2 other videos that I'm currently working on, and I've also been making content for Night of the Dead, and on top of all the other shit that I'm trying to do. So I've been very busy boy. Trying to be, at least.
All right. And Monkey, how about you?
Oh, I ain't do nothing. No, I'm just kidding. I did, let's see, Monkey in the Morning. We did the game stream last night as well. And then I did a game stream last night playing more Night of the Dead in a single-player version. And then I played more of that today in more single-player version. And then I got my thumbnail ready for when I play Crusader Kings 3, which will be what I play next. I've been busy.
You've been busy conquering things.
That's what I do.
What was the last thing you conquered?
Oh, God. The last thing I remember was a barn.
Oh, I was expecting something like your mama.
I was going to say that, but see, it was expected.
Oh, okay.
Aha.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. All right. Well then, moving on to the wonderful world of Fuggatry. Do I have much? Let's see. I had an interesting tweet from the New York Times today. It's attached to a story, which I don't think I can read because I had my one story for the month already today or something. As right-wing groups increasingly move to confront protesters in U.S. cities, demonstrators are assessing how to keep themselves safe.
Are you fucking serious?
Yep.
Yep. And I said, well, that's one way of interpreting what's going on, I suppose. They're running so much interference for reality right now. It's just
Pathetic.
It really is. And anybody who's not paying attention, I suppose, might read this and go like, oh my God, that's absolutely true. And it's so blatant. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of devil horns and pitchforks to go around amongst all types of groups. But that as the interpretation that somehow the protesters are just these innocent, vulnerable people that aren't doing anything, and it's the right-wing groups that are coming in and doing things. No. What are you talking about? Who's burning down things? Who's attacking police? Those are the right-wing guys?
Yes, and what they want us to believe, Scribe, what these fucking people want us to believe is that right-wing infiltrators that already exist inside of the protest movement are now taking off all the black clothes and then walking back on the other side so they can go in to fight the rest of the right-wing protesters that are still inside the group, because those are the only violent ones. And the people who aren't protesting or who aren't rioting are terrified for their lives because they don't want to be a part of this clash of two white supremacist groups fighting each other, all in the name to make Trump better because Trump likes chaos.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. I mean, it's. I don't know. I feel like I'm living sometimes, well, maybe not sometimes, a lot of the time, in some kind of like fictional worst case scenario movie.
I'm telling you.
Where you've got mainstream media. That is just absolute nonsense propaganda.
Yep.
It is the furthest thing, and this isn't a story as far as I can tell. Let me double check to make sure I'm not missing something. There's nothing about this story to indicate this is opinion. This is just laying it out as though this is just the reality of the situation. And I don't know. Like I say, I'm sure there are plenty of stories from both sides of the ideological aisle of wrongdoing in these situations, but to categorize it that blatantly as one side is peaceful and the other side is evil is absolute horseshit.
Especially when, we've gone over this. We've seen what happens day after day, night after night. The actual right wing, anything you want to say about that coming in, has been within the last week.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, they've just stayed back. We talk about this on Monkey in the Morning from time to time, because if you watch the Portland riots, they are just scared to death that the Proud Boys are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is their boogeyman, but they never show up.
Right.
They literally never show up. I mean, they even have shirts made up as "Fight me, Proud Boys, I'll take you," stupid shit like that. Proud Boys never show up. It's just them. Now, that's not to say that we haven't seen the right wing increase. We absolutely have this last week, but that's it.
Yeah, and this is the New York Times. So just the other day, I mean, all credit where credit is due. That one report, the New York Times did a step-by-step breakdown of the video and photo evidence of the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing. And that was actual. I was so happy to read that, because it was actual journalism. It was actual, here's what we know, not going to assess it on a political level. This is just the facts as we have them. Here's picture 1. Here's video 2. Here's we've tracked this person from this timestamp to this timestamp. Here's the actions as we observe them. And here's a thread on Twitter. And I was just even though obviously the subject matter is disturbing as fuck, the fact that somebody was actually giving an objective analysis of events without giving you commentary or some kind of like partisan assessment of things without actually thinking about what's going on was so ridiculous. It really said something to me that I was that refreshed by that.
Mm-hmm.
It just says how rare it is these days, which actually kind of quasi reverse made me kind of depressed. That I was like, why can I only be impressed by this instance? Why doesn't this happen more often? Is sort of my complaint. But anyway, what else? A tweet by someone named Angel Jones, PhD, who let us know that remote learning does not absolve you of your responsibility to make sure your teaching is still anti-racist.
Okay.
And I responded, wherein anti-racist equals confessing one's inherent and inborn racism. Ergo, teach your kids that they are racists, whether they know it or not, and fess up to it whether they believe it or not. I learned this by listening to the expert. And then I put a link to the Ibram X. Kendi TEDx talk, where he lays out the entire philosophy behind the concept of anti-racism.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I mean, I'm practically quoting the guy directly. Anti-racist is to confess, whereas racist is, or sorry, saying you're not racist is denial, and anti-racism is confession. And let's see. And then this, which, I mean, in gallows humor sense, I'm kind of making light of, but at the same time, I also cringe inside. The satirical weekly Charlie Hebdo will reprint controversial cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad that apparently sparked the 2015 attack on its Paris offices by Islamist extremists who killed several staff members. First off, the NPR to say apparently sparked is amazing. Secondly, as much as I obviously defend their right to publish whatever they want, the pragmatic part of me is cringing at the possible repercussions. Can't help it.
I get you, but I'm also of the I'm of the opinion that when the whole Muhammad thing popped up and like nobody should draw it, then I went to the everybody should draw it thing.
Yes, I mean, and then fundamentally I agree with that, but that's not what has happened.
No,
it hasn't become mainstream. It hasn't been diluted in its effect. So the fact that they're going to do it in sort of a closed environment kind of thing, like I say, I am not against them doing it. I fear for the consequences, however.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So anyway, and I think that is about all I've got. So Satsu, what do you got?
Well, Twitter's freaking the fuck out.
Oh God, what are they about now?
And I'm gonna put my my Alex Jones hat on here.
Uh-oh.
Because Pelosi blowout and Pelosi must go are trending heavily.
Oh my God.
And as a result, there's only certain hashtags that work on here. Can you guess which ones don't work?
Pelosi must go.
Every time I click, let me see. There's the YouTube Answer Us doesn't work. The top 9 voters one works. Both of the Pelosi ones don't work. The Jazz at Nuggets works.
What do you mean it works? What do you mean?
When I click on them, it says something went wrong. Try again, and I have to keep refreshing.
Oh,
out my browser.
Works for me.
Really?
Yeah, Pelosi must go. I clicked on it, and it took me to a big list of stories. What was the other one? Pelosi blowout.
Yeah, I'm trying to click one of these, and none of them works for me.
Okay, well the top results I get results. Latest tab I get results for both. So yeah, I'm getting results.
Okay, well either way, what I'm looking at over here on my fucking tray, because I was trying to go to something that was connected to it over there, but they wouldn't let me. So my Twitter is fucking freaking out. So Tariq Nasheed is out and about again, and he says on his Twitter. Y'all ready for this?
Oh, sorry.
A white Hispanic race soldier.
White Hispanic.
A white Hispanic race soldier.
Race soldier. Okay.
Shot a black man in the back today in Los Angeles and killed him.
Oh, it's the bike guy.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody said, "Dear Tariq, serious question. Your bio says you live in LA. What, if anything, have you contributed to the struggling black communities like in South Central, such as mentoring, job training, youth programs, etc.?" This is his response. He says, "You really don't want me to run down my resume. Let's just save time and say that my work in the community is extensive and unmatched." And I was like, wow, that was a textbook Trump answer. Because I'm like, what kind of fucking answer is that? Seriously? She asked you specifically, what have you done? And you're just like, well, you don't want to know what I've done, but let's just say it was a lot. Like, wow. I mean, he's not a con man for no reason.
Does Tariq know about the black guy who shot a black guy in LA yesterday?
I don't think he cares.
Wasn't a race soldier.
I don't think he cares. I don't think it matters to him. That was pretty hilarious. And some of the other comments on here are funny. Tim Young says, "Listen, Tariq, I know you're a race baiter and all, but there's no such thing as a white Hispanic." And he says, "Listen, Tim, I know you're a suspected white supremacist who believes every black person being harmed is justified, but whining about me baiting anti-black racists like yourself won't stop me." And I'm just like, eesh. So yeah, that's still a shit show. If you guys were wondering what's going on with Tariq, fun stuff. I have apparently put on some Facebook repellent because motherfuckers been dodging my posts like the plague now. And I told you guys, I get a lot of people who comment on my post over there because I be posting some stuff that people seem to have a lot to talk about. And I've been seeing a lot of people retweet stuff, both justifying and saying that the riots are good, and anybody speaking out against it is just showing their white supremacy and all that shit. Just meme after meme, post after post. And then Biden comes out and is just like, "Now, what do you think about the riots, Biden?" He's like, "Whatever my opposition said, copy and paste it." And they did. They copied and pasted it. And and he read it. And everybody went fucking radio silent. The memes are gone. Nobody will fucking look at this post or read it for any reason. There are no likes, no angry faces, nothing. It is the people are just like, nope, we not saying shit. Everybody universally shut the fuck up about this. Nobody's allowed to talk about riots being bad anymore because Biden said he came out and said it's bad. So now that's it. It's done, guys. Because I haven't seen it anywhere. It just vanished overnight, which is kind of hilarious, but also sad. So let's see. What else did I see today? There's something else. It was the Biden condemned violence. Why won't Trump thing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yes, Biden condemned violence. Why won't Trump? Only one candidate incites his supporters to mayhem.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm sure you guys saw the post I put up about that.
Yeah.
I also had some fun with the who said this. I actually quoted, put up the Biden quote. A lot of people, quite a few people over on Facebook said Trump. And I think one or two people over on Twitter said Trump. Some of y'all knew already, so, you know. Wait a minute. I just refreshed the page and Strokeahontas is down. Strokeahontas is trending now.
Why?
I don't know. I can't click it. It says something went wrong. So my Twitter's all fucked, guys.
Yeah, okay. What's the latest
Strokeahontas?
I don't understand.
I don't know that I want to.
Oh shit.
Okay. So it has to do with They're talking about Donald Trump had a stroke back in 2019.
Oh,
They're
a
making
book came out that said he had several mini strokes back in 2019. Yeah.
Right. So now they're calling him Strokeohannes.
Gotcha.
Yes. Okay.
Because he called her Pocahontas.
Pocahontas. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Clever.
Uh-huh. And these
Clever.
All right. Okay. Also, I saw a tweet today that says, if you are white and not ashamed, you are racist.
Oh, I saw that one too. Yes.
Wow. That's all it takes?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, racism is easy as fuck now, dude.
Not ashamed of what?
Just
being white.
Are you sure? Because I don't know. I could take that comment a little ambiguously. If you're white and not ashamed. I mean, if I'm not ashamed about what? I know. I'm being a smartass.
Also, hilariously today, because you guys did you guys see that shit with Adele?
Yeah.
Oh, the hair thing yesterday. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
A bunch of black people got pissed off and offended here, and to my surprise, a bunch of native Jamaicans showed up and was like, "Would y'all shut the fuck up?" They were arguing with the native Jamaicans, telling them that they don't have a say. Like they're like, no, black culture is just black culture, and you guys are fucking punching down at us, your own brothers and sisters, to protect this. What did the one chick? She called Adele a pile of mayo.
Huh.
Yeah.
Pile of mayo. At least it wasn't like toilet seat complexioned, whatever.
Yeah, and they're just like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm like, you were talking to native Jamaicans. It is their fucking culture. You're an American. You don't live in Jamaica. You weren't born in Jamaica. You have never been to Jamaica. How the fuck are you going to lay claim to their culture and then tell them that they have no right to speak about who gets to fucking appreciate it? I'm like, no wonder. And I think I told you guys about this before. I've known some African people to actually move over to America. And I was talking to the one dude, and he said in the communities and stuff that the circles that he's in, he was like, we fucking hate American black people. We can't fucking stand them. And I was just like, really? And he was like explaining to me why. It was various reasons. He was like, not everybody's the same, obviously. Like there's some people who, but for the most part, he was like, we don't think very highly of you Americans because y'all are what was the word? Forgot what word he used. It wasn't like entitled or something. It was, I don't know. I forgot exactly what the term was, but they don't think very highly of us because they think that we're lazy and they think that we take things for granted and all that good stuff. So I'm just like, man, with the type of attitudes y'all are having, telling those native people who fucking live there that they have no say, like we're offended for you, so you shut the fuck up, person who this culture belongs to. I'm just like, damn, okay. But yeah, that is the bulk of the fucking tree. There's more, I'm sure, but
all right, Monkey, what do you got?
have a good night.
Oh, let's see what we got rolling on the Twitter machine today. To be honest, I don't remember. So, I hit back at Joe Biden and his stupid shit because I mentioned that 2 months ago, Donald Trump was being called a monster, a fascist, authoritarian, dictatorial ruler because he wanted to send National Guard troops in to calm the cities. And now the left is all like, oh my God, we got to stop. Donald Trump won't even talk about stopping the violence. In Donald Trump's acceptance speech, he actually brought up stopping the violence. You know who didn't? Joe Biden. Didn't mention it once. And somebody decided to get shitty with me and tell me that the National Guard can't be called up by the president. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to make a definitive statement like that, you might want to go check the laws. In 2007, the Defense Act passed that year, gave the president the power to call up the Guard for internal matters. Go look it up. I'm not making it up. But it astounded me how certain some people are that they know you're wrong and they never went and checked. It's like, are you trying to help me make you look like a dummy? I mean, come on now. What else do we have here? Chris Saliza today.
The Salizard.
Sweet tap dancing Christ. He analysis, the 35 most reckless lines from Donald Trump's interview with Laura Ingraham.
Reckless lines, okay.
Number 1 was Portland has been burning for many years. For decades it's been burning, but now it's gotten to a point they don't want to. I've watched the mayor try and get in with these people. And Chris, Portland has not been burning for many years. The protest, some peaceful and some violent, began just over 90 days ago.
So a fact check.
Chris, now, if you want to say it hasn't technically been burning this whole time, all right, then you're just splitting hairs. Fine. But the violence in Portland has been going on for at least half a decade. At least. Every year, you can go back and just look at violence in Portland on YouTube, and shit will come up from every year. So I sent Chris a video of that, and I don't know if he bothered to look at it, because why would he? Because he's a moron. But
he said 90 days?
Just over 90 days. That's as long. The stuff that's going on right now in Portland is at like 99 days today, I think.
Yeah, but we were seeing nutball stuff going on last summer and onward, because under Ted Wheeler, he's been basically letting this stuff slide. You remember those videos, those guys in the hoods and everything stopping cars in the middle of the street in broad daylight and trying to bust them out?
That's the video I sent him.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I don't get is, didn't we just read something from Chris Elizabeth that was saying that for whatever reason, Donald Trump won't condemn the violence because it's been benefiting him over this whole time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All
right.
Next one. Donald Trump heard that Cory Booker was coming to town there in Kenesha. And sarcastically, he said, Cory Booker, that'll be nice. And Twitter lost its fucking shit.
What?
That's it?
Yeah.
That's the full quote.
Let me read this tweet to you that somebody wrote. This is actually one of the more sane ones. It says, Trump sarcastically said, Cory Booker, that'll be nice. Yeah, actually, it would be nice. He is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and exceptionally talented. You have to be a flaming racist to consider this guy the big black boogeyman. Say what?
Okay.
How do you get big black boogeyman from that'll be nice?
Well, okay, you can't get it that way. I'm curious, was he like being sarcastic? I mean, maybe that's what fueled the sense that he was being quote unquote racist. Not that he was, but I can just imagine Trump saying, "He's like, that'll be nice."
Well, it was apparently said sarcastically.
Okay,
but even with that, I mean,
I know it's not racist, but
it's not. There's nothing racist about that. No. It's actually nicer than he'd say about a whole lot of different people.
Here's the thing. He could have been saying that'll be nice because he likes them. He could have been saying that'll be nice because he doesn't like them. He could have been saying that'll be nice because his breath stink. It could have been any reason under the sun, but they're just like, oh, that's a Negro, so that's why.
Yep.
It's like, oh, okay. I'm glad you just came to that conclusion.
Remember, Trump's dividing us, guys. Scoop. Biden-Harris campaign is rolling out official yard signs for Animal Crossing New Horizons.
I saw that.
Let's Pokemon go to the polls, guys.
Yep. That's cute.
All right.
So I don't know how that works. Is that something that can anybody create an item that gets shared around the whole game kind of thing?
Not that I was aware of.
because I was wondering, is that something that's like, is that in partnership with the people who run the game? Is that something that Trump can do as well? Is it some kind of private deal? I don't know how Animal Crossing works.
As far as I know, it's got to be something within the game that the developers helped with.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, and they've been allowing that game has been extremely political for the past couple months now.
Really?
Quite a few people have stopped playing. Yeah, they held like Black Lives Matter rallies and stuff on there. There's been all kinds of happening on there for a while, and they've been openly allowing this stuff. They said the devs are okay with it. It has been getting deleted, so this could be shut down very easily.
Okay.
Instantaneously, like somebody can fuck this whole setup. All they have to do is make a MAGA hat in the game, and they'll be like, "Oh, we don't allow this political shit in our game," and they'll shut all that stuff down instantly. So, if you want to throw a monkey wrench in it, here's your chance, I guess.
And finally, in my shit that didn't happen segment tonight,
Oh boy,
Daniel Klaidman said, fascinating discussion with Brian Stelter about Fox News and his book, #Hoax. Stelter, who started covering Fox as a college blogger, tells the story of being the subject of Roger Ailes' Black Op. Ailes sent a female intern to spy on Stelter under the guise of dates.
What?
Bullshit.
Okay, so two possibilities. Either he's absolutely right, or he's covering for a bad dating relationship.
Roger Ailes gave that much of a shit about a college blogger.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe that. I need receipts if you're going to say stupid shit like that. Brian, come on. You're a fat little turd, and we all know it, and that's all you've ever been. Your parents are disappointed in you almost as much as I am. Stop it. That's all I got, Scribe.
Well, good timing because we're at the bottom of the hour, and thus it's chat time. So, guys, if you have questions, comments, complaints, conspiracy theories, let us know in the chat. If you have questions for us directly, please put plenty of chat marks after those. If you have statements for us to consider, please put plenty of statement marks after those. Just a reminder that tomorrow night, per usual, will be on Ranting Monkeys channel at the regular time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, for another episode of Lords of the Night. Affable Sage, if you have the know-how, you can create any design you want in Animal Crossing New Horizons. See, I don't know how it works. I don't know if I've never played Animal Crossing. I don't know if it's some kind of MMO where there's like a marketplace of items that players can create or anything like that, sort of like a Second Life kind of deal. I don't know. So that's why I was curious. Does anybody actually play Second Life anymore?
I don't know.
I wonder if those servers are still running. That was the weird. Keeverdam, how important does a person have to be before they are considered assassinated instead of just murdered? It depends if the person, usually if the person is a public servant or a public figure of some kind, and they're, I don't know. I guess it depends on the intention of it and the position of the person is how that qualifies. I mean, legally speaking, it's still murder/homicide, but I don't know. What do you think?
I thought assassinations was dictated by whether or not there was an exchange of money for it. That's what I thought.
Not necessarily. Like the guy who shot Martin Luther King Jr., the Sirhan that shot Robert F. Kennedy, they weren't paid to do it. They did it out of political motivation, and did it from a distance and everything. So
political assassination.
I'm sure there's probably a more technical definition for it, but assassination, as far as I know, is usually motivated by some political or ideological reason, sort of. Except you could also say, Chapman assassinated John Lennon, even though the guy was doing it to impress Jodie Foster. It's like, or was that the Reagan shooting? I forget. Maybe that was the Reagan.
Foster was the Reagan shooting.
That's what it was. Sorry, I apologize. No, but
Catcher in the Rye was John Lennon.
Right. Catcher in the Rye. Yeah. So I don't know when an official assassination tag falls upon someone versus another, but I think it's like political, isn't it?
To me, it's got to be politically important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like when who was it? Dave Chappelle talking about Biggie and Tupac.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't get assassinated; they were shot. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I missed something because chat has jumped. Okay, we read that one. Check your logic. Have you seen or heard about whether or not Kyle Rittenhouse was self-defense or murder on the Modern Day Debates channel? I've never heard of the Modern Day Debates channel, so I couldn't say.
Yeah, something Sinatra pointed out earlier was like, he was like, oh, based on this, he's going to walk. But I didn't read it or whatever. I know that there appears to be a pretty good chance that whatever he's get is not going to be very heavy.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Based on the video evidence, there is no way he can be got for first-degree murder. There's just no way.
Yeah. There's not a second of footage of him being aggressive in any manner that is outside of the realm of self-defense. So,
yeah. And Matt Christensen did a really interesting breakdown of the actual criminal complaints against him and how the very text of the complaints from the prosecution or from the police belie the charges of murder. Because it describes him fleeing away from the victims before they were shot after the victims were attacking him. So I don't know how it's going to hash out, but just sort of layman's terms, looking at both the video stuff and the descriptions from the police and the prosecutors themselves, they're going to have a really uphill battle, basically contradicting their own charges in court in how they're going to justify some of the charges they put up. That's best argument. Go to Matt Christensen's channel if you have a chance and take a look at his video on the Rittenhouse thing, because it was very compelling to me. I don't know obviously how it's gonna sway, but it was interesting.
Yeah, people seem to be banking on the fact that that because he was there, quote unquote, illegally, and because he had the weapon illegally, that'll negate any self-defense claim.
Yeah, he may be guilty of those crimes for sure. I mean, as far as I can tell, just on the facts of his age and his possession of a firearm, etc., he's probably guilty of those things, clear as day. Sure, if they want to pursue charges on those, but everything else beyond that, like I say, it's very shaky ground they're on for those. Yeah. As far as I can tell, again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. This is Kyle. Lords, which do you think is the better holiday, Halloween or Christmas? Now, for me, it's probably Christmas. I don't really do Halloween anymore. Although I'll tell you, Halloween, especially as an adult, when you got a bunch of women dressed up in very skimpy outfits trying to be all evil and sexy looking, I can't complain too much.
Yeah, it's hard to be upset with women dressed as whores. I like both. For family, it's obviously Christmas. For individual, gotta go Halloween.
I'm kind of neutral about both of them.
Yeah, when I've got a social group that I can do Halloween stuff with, the creativity and costumes and that kind of fun can be a lot of fun. But that doesn't happen as consistently as just spending time with my family for Christmas. So I'd probably say Christmas. Slapper360, what's your favorite color? Cobalt blue. Royal blue, depending.
I'm a fan of black and white. Those are I both.
I really like black and red together.
I noticed.
Yeah.
Black Romeo, assassination is having previous/planned intent to kill. If the target is famous, it can be understood that someone planned to kill them before they saw them. Thus, it's an assassination, in my opinion. Oh, okay. Well, premeditation does not necessarily mean assassination. I mean, again, it's not a legal term, so far as I know. But yeah, some things are qualified as assassinations if it's a setup kind of thing. I guess it depends. It's all kind of loose. Let's see. Motto Winter. Oh lords, who gets Scribe's cheeseburger when he gets institutionalized from all the TEDx talks he does? Scribe, you answer last. Okay, who gets me? Who gets my cheeseburger?
I'm not eating your cheeseburger.
Yeah, I don't know where it's been.
Where am I getting this cheeseburger?
Is there some special significance to a cheeseburger? I don't know.
I have no idea. I mean, I like cheeseburgers, but I mean, are we talking like school cafeteria cheeseburger, or are we talking like, Five Guys burgers and fries cheeseburger? Because one of those I'll eat, and hint, it's not the school one.
Are we talking like Crazy House cheeseburgers? Like, are these my pills? It's like, no, it's a cheeseburger. It's like, okay, thanks.
Right. Yeah. It's just it's not a bagel with pills stuffed in it. Del Fruzio, Scribe, did you guys hear that Cartoon Network's anime block Toonami had the robot host give a Black Lives Matter statement on Saturday, calling fans racist while anime clips were playing in the background?
Oh yeah. Well, okay. So the clip. The character, the robot, his name is Tom, and he's always been like the main character or the mascot for Toonami or whatever.
Okay.
And he said there's a lot of talk going on about racism and all that good stuff like that. A whole bunch of people saying all lives matter and stuff like that or whatever. People saying, no, not me. And then he was like, basically, we need to reevaluate this and think about this. And at some point he was like, because Black lives do matter and we need to have that discussion or whatever. And he was basically trying to say, look, this is not your business. This is everybody's business. This involves everyone. So if you think it doesn't involve you, or you think that you don't come to here to anime to hear about problems like this, he was like, think about the shows that you watch and all that stuff like that. Like, it's all relevant. You watch shows that deal with injustice and shit all the time. This is no different. Like, people out there need your help. Black lives matter. But he didn't say it in support of BLM, the movement. He just said Black lives matter. And when I saw it, I was just like, ooh, that's cringe as fuck. Like, just to kind of come out of nowhere. You're here to watch some anime and you're getting lectured by the fucking TV network.
Right.
So I definitely understood like why people were upset, but they're just like, Toonami supports Black Lives Matter. I'm like, well, no, technically he didn't say, they didn't say this was in the name of Black Lives Matter or anything. He simply said the words Black Lives Matter. So,
All right.
So yeah, I saw that shit. It was cringe as fuck.
All right. Tack Alpaca, do you think it's wrong to put up Christmas decorations before Thanksgiving?
Nope.
No? You can have Christmas decorations up in July for all I care.
You can put Christmas decorations up whenever the fuck you bought them. Want to know why? Because you bought them.
America. Let's see. Motto Winter. Oh, lords, would you try a small bowl of waffle ice cream with a joyful glass of hot cider?
What the fuck makes this glass so joyful? What is it now?
Every time that she says something like a joyful glass or a UFO glass, I'm thinking, is that an actual like style of glass that I'm just unaware of for the terminology?
Yeah, we need to figure out what this glass knows.
Yeah. Glasnost? What? None of that sounds terrible to me, so sure, I would. Of course, I don't know what a joyful glass is, so I don't know if that means that there's some like something else in there, or it's like a glass that's joyful because it's got a hole in it that's going to spill all over me and somebody else laughs at it. Daniel Fullman, since we have Zoom now, will schools ever have a snow day again? That is an interesting question. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think it's one thing to have it set up because that's what you're going to be using going forward. It's another thing to have it set up for on the fly. Oh, shit, we got to use it today.
Yeah. Let's see. Angry Illinoisian, will there be a game stream after the show?
Yes.
All right.
They need to do VR classes. They can do that. There's this new app I saw on my VR headset. that apparently is supposed to be used for productivity. So because of like COVID and shit, if you want to have a meeting, you could just like, if all of you have VR headsets, you can put them on and they'll put you in this room where you can like have your meeting and talk to people, and you got these little avatars. And I'm like, that's innovative. Well, not really innovative. I'm sure that stuff like that exists, but I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Well, only as long as those lessons are anti-racist.
That's right.
Let's see. Drew W. Will any of you guys get an Eggo mermaid waffle?
No.
No.
The blue, no blue waffle.
I already talked about that. Nice try.
Check your logic. Wouldn't they still have a snow day because of connection issues?
No.
That could be an issue too.
Yeah, I mean, they might just call it either way, just because. Why not? Kind of thing. But like Monkey said, if it's snowing, then and school is actually in session, then yeah, they're going to cancel school, because to try to organize a Zoom meeting if they're already going physically back to school all of a sudden to try to make up for the day, not worth the trouble. Let's see. Frosted Glass, why didn't anyone warn me not to do the hole in the bottom of the popcorn trick with a bucket of hot wings?
Because we assumed that you were only pretending to be an idiot.
Yeah, that's on you, homie.
That's a spicy meatballs.
Yeah, if they fall on your balls.
Ow! Let's see. Slapper360. Ugh, Nancy Pelosi in wet hair does not look like Nancy Pelosi. No, it probably looks like the Crypt Keeper.
That literally does not look like her. Like, I saw the video and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Let's see. And no more questions or anything. So we're done. Yay!
That's a...
Show's over, guys. Thanks for coming by. This is
See ya.
Kyle.
Oh.
What video game do you guys wish had a sequel or a continuation to the series?
Red Dead 2. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said Monster Hunter. It's time for a new one. World is
You stop it. You just got that.
God, no, that shit's been out for 2 years? 3? I don't know. Monster Hunter.
Red Dead.
Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Have you completely just like just counted it's not a game now?
Yeah, they fired the guy that was like core to the first game. He basically wrote this entire game apparently, and they just fired his ass out of the blue. So whatever's coming out of them, I first and foremost, after my whole Fallout 76 thing and all the rules that I tried to stick by before then, I ain't buying AAA on the first day. And I sure as hell am going to wait until someone who I know appreciates the first game as much as I do tells me that it's worthwhile. So, yeah. Let's see. Slapper360, favorite Nintendo game? Like original Nintendo? Or are you talking about like any Nintendo? Because my favorite Nintendo game had to be The Punisher, the shooting gallery Punisher. It was... I remember it great. I watched a playthrough of it not too long ago, and I'm like, yeah, it still looks like shit, but I loved it.
If you're talking about the NES, probably pro wrestling. I loved a lot of them. Zelda was great. The original Mario Brothers was great.
Yeah.
But, man, pro wrestling with Starface and doing that backflip kick to the face. Oh, it was awesome.
Starface. I remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Satsu.
I didn't play a whole lot of.
He was too young for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anything on Nintendo in general, then like a Nintendo game.
I don't know. Well, because I was trying to think like any ones that I played as a kid, and my mom had Mario, so that was played a lot in the house, like Super Mario. But I didn't particularly like the game. We just had it. But I'm trying to think if there was any other Nintendo game, because we were a Sega house essentially. Like we had a bunch of Sega games. Fuck, man, was Killer Instinct on Nintendo? That was on SNES, right?
Yeah.
Killer Instinct.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was on SNES. I don't know if was that a Nintendo produced game. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
that's what I was thinking, like an actual like Nintendo game or.
then shit, I don't really. I mean, I guess I have to say Mario because it was like the only thing that we played back then.
Del Fruzio Scribe, who is the best female character in a video game you played? I'm assuming you're talking about a game where it's not like you just pick your avatar kind of thing. I mean, probably because it's only foremost on my mind right now because I'm playing it a bit here and there. The character in Control, Jesse Faden. I haven't gotten far enough in the game yet to really understand her whole backstory and everything, but it's very interesting so far. Very interesting game. I really like. I like Remedy. I always like Max Payne. So those guys always put together good. I never did play Alan Wake, although I had a lot of friends who said it was really good. And apparently, it's tangentially tied to this game, at least in the universe it sits in. But hearing Max Payne's voice come out of the director in that game is really comforting. What was the name? Cafferty, whatever his first name is. I'll take it back. That's a game I'd love to have another sequel to, the Max Payne 4.
I still never played 3. 1 and 2 were good. 1 was great.
3 is great. Oh, I love it so much. I mean, it takes the story in a completely different direction than I would have imagined. But it's really good. It's really good. The some people complain about some of the visual effects they do for some of the cutscenes or whatever when they show Max being kind of like out of it and everything. But the storytelling, the action, the controls, the visuals, the whole thing, I loved it. I almost say I like it better than Max Payne 2, which is saying something. But so yeah, and I got it. I remember when I bought it off of Steam, I saw it on sale. It was like on sale for $8. I was like, wow, $8. And then I click over to the store page to buy it. And between the time that I saw it listed on the page for like at the winter sale or whatever, and I got to the store page, it had dropped 50% to $4. I was like, damn. So best $4 I ever spent. Great game.
If I had to pick one, the first person that comes up, because I know there are tons of female characters I like, but the first one that comes up is an obscure one, or maybe it's obscure. I don't know. Nariko from Heavenly Sword. She's basically the female God of War back in the day. That's what people used to call her. She's like a redhead chick, and there was this game called Heavenly Sword. And she had these chain blades that she fought with. And this chick, man, she was the definition of badass. And her whole story, that whole game was just fucking amazing. She was a boss. She fucked shit up. She went out like a gangster. That game was this shit. So if you ever played Heavenly Sword, or if you haven't played Heavenly Sword, you should. And you still have I think it was on PS3. Still have a PS3, you should check it out because that game is the shit.
Monkey.
Favorite female character?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I don't like women. They fuck up my games all the time.
Well, it could be an NPC. I didn't think about it like that. Like if I had to say an NPC, I'd say like Velvet Velour from Masquerade Bloodlines.
I really like Sadie in Red Dead 2. The character arc she goes through from being this damsel in distress to this fucking outlaw who kills people. Yeah, probably her. Of course, Samus. How do you not do Samus?
There's not really a character there, though.
Oh, come on. How dare you, sir?
What's your favorite line from her?
And she looks at me and shoots stuff, and I get
what's
all tingly in the crotch.
What's your favorite one-liner from Samus?
You'd be a character without saying anything. Charlie Chaplin did it.
Link?
Yeah, he did it. He did it until the Great Dictator.
Well, I guess that's not fair. Link says,
yeah, I suppose there's that.
That's kind of a word.
Stunlock, Scribe, if you're playing Control, you for sure should play Alan Wake. It's a bit more than just tangential. Also, Quantum Break is in the same Remedy verse. I heard Quantum Break was like buggy as all hell, and the sort of like cut between the game and all the live action stuff is so jarring that it kind of So I don't know. Every review I saw of Quantum Break was really, really muted, and I never really found the concept all that interesting to me. As far as Alan Wake's concerned, I watched friends play it. Like back when it came out, I was over at a friend's house and I watched a couple hours in playing it. So I have a sort of visual memory of the gist of the story and everything that was going on. Maybe, I don't know. Truth be told, I'm not a big fan of like jump scare horror games that much, like skulking around in the dark kind of deal. Mm-hmm. So I'll see. Maybe if it's on sale or something at some point, I'll think about it. Or if Control really ends up catching my imagination, we'll see. Model Winter, UFO glasses with a lid, and it's shaped like a UFO with a swirly straw to drink. Okay, that's a UFO glass. I figured it was like shaped like a UFO, but I wasn't sure. Let's see. Dr. No, Ranting Monkey, will Tom Brady lead Tampa to victory this season?
Fuck no.
That was easy. Devil Fruit Zero says Samus had to get over PTSD. Being stripped naked at the end of the first game. If you did everything correctly.
She wasn't stripped naked. She got naked.
Well, I mean, she was wearing underwear, so.
That's a sign of a good woman. Did you guys see that video of Biggest Mikey tweeted it out today? That chick who's mad at her man, demanding her EBT card back, and then she just starts stripping naked in the middle of the street.
No.
Oh.
She gets completely naked and chases this motherfucker down, yelling at him.
What?
Why? Apparently, she wanted her EBT card back. I'll find it and throw it into chat here.
She wanted as little wind resistance as possible when she was chasing.
Oh, you see, tweeted it out today.
Yeah, it's
right. Is it new UFC fighter is into the ring?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I don't have permission because I'm on my game channel. My bad.
Ah, okay.
Guys, just copy that. It's all there, and then put it.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
She is buck naked.
What the hell?
Where'd you put this link, Monkey?
This has got to be staged. This is staged. They're laughing. She's giggling.
It's in the chat there, bud.
Yeah,
it's not a direct link. You got to copy it.
That seems like a setup. That seems, I don't know. But anyway. Dr. No, Scribe Light, favorite Judas Priest song? Oh, God. Breaking the Law. Was that Judas Priest? Pretty sure.
I have no clue.
I don't know. What does my sister have to say? My sister is texting me.
I don't even see it in the chat.
I'm on my game channel, so it's just regular.
My sister and her boyfriend, for I think the first time, listen to this show live.
Oh,
yeah. She doesn't really pay that much attention to my my YouTube stuff. I told her today that I would be on. I might be on Metzger's podcast this week, and she was like, "Oh my God, congratulations!" Yeah, okay. I see how it is. I'll have to find out what she thought here in a minute. Looking for Steph here. That was the last question, I guess. All right, so that's all the questions, guys. I guess we're done. Nothing else. Okay, well, that's interesting. And now's the time, of course, where the Ask Club Daily posts all their stuff for the day.
Right after Lords for some reason.
I know it's like this is how I close out the show now. It's like
we should have a 2-minute right at the end of the stream just to do some booty worship.
This isn't that kind of show. Let's see. Delvertio says, "Hi, Scribe sister. Hope you are well." Man, I talked to her earlier today. She's fine. Slapper360, whose podcast in here? Well, tentatively, and guys, I'll let you know as things hash out, but tentatively, I may be on Kurt Metzger's podcast. Kurt Metzger is a comedian, an associate of Joe Rogan. He apparently caught my channel and my TED Excellence stuff and found them really fun, and he offered to have me on his show this week. So might be Thursday. As soon as I get that more firmed up, I'll let you guys know and give you all the information. But yeah, looking forward to that if that happens. And we shall see. But with that, guys, we're at the top of the hour and thus the end of the show. Remember, over on 2 Cents Plus after this, you can watch Ranting Monkey and Satsu fight zombies in Night of the Dead.
Night of the Dead.
Night of the Dead. Not the living dead, but of just the dead. So they're just kind of laying on the ground.
That's right. We just stomp corpses all day.
That's right. Also remember that tomorrow night, per usual, will be on Monkey's channel at the regular time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Everyone, thank you so much for coming out tonight and joining us. You guys are the best audience in the whole of the world. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though our audience is so well behaved, you guys have very little to do. Everyone who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. It'll all go towards Goldfish and Jack Daniels, which will help to lubricate my brain as I watch more TED Excellences as the days come on. Anything else to mention before we go, guys?
Nah.
Monkey?
Did we lose him?
I don't know. Monkey?
Shit, I said no. I was muted for some reason.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, Monkey, Satsu, thank you for joining me as always.
Yeah.
Everyone, your lives make us sad, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Getting out my copy of Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns, the romance and sexual sorcery of sadomasochism. And today's secret word is practice.
Practice, huh?
For it makes perfect.
Indeed.
In theory.